Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in General Yanis Tactics, the Warhammer 40k channel with an early touch, we're continuing our look into the Thousand Sons Codex and looking at some of the heavy support options, the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend, and reviewing those. So with no further ado, let's jump right to it. So today is the 25th of September. I have 1 month left to my first tournament, and the next week I'll have a practice match against the Harlequins with my 2000 points Death Guard army featuring Mortarion. That will be quite exciting to face these dancing acrobats with 4+ invul saves and crazy amount of speed. But in today's video, as I said, we're looking at the heavy support, Daemon Engines for the Thousand Sons, the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend. We'll be looking at the stats and weapons, the damage output, the durability, comparing them to some other relevant units, looking at buffs and combos, and finally a summary and conclusions. So let's get started. So let's look at the base stats and the weapons for the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend. The Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend can be done from the same box, basically, depending on the weapons, how you build them, and they have quite similar stats. The Forgefiend, they have both have 12 wounds and they have a degrading profile. The Forgefiend is not as fast as the Maulerfiend. It has an 8-inch move, 3+ weapon skill and ballistic skill. The movement, weapon skill and ballistic skill degrade. Then we have strength 7 and toughness 7. 5 attacks, 8 leadership, 3+ save, and they have a 5+ demonic invul save. The Maulerfiend is faster, has a 10-inch move as the base, and that's basically the main difference in the stat lines here, and one more attack as the Maulerfiend is more melee oriented unit. If we look at the Forgefiend weaponry, the normal has a 2 autocannons and jaws, and you could replace the autocannons with ectoplasma cannons and the jaws with ectoplasma cannons. Looking at the heavy autocannon, it's a heavy 4 weapon with a nice range, 48-inch, strength 8, AP -2, and damage 2. The ectoplasma cannon, which is the alternative, is cheaper. It's a heavy D3 weapon, 36-inch range, strength 7, AP -3, and damage 3, and a blast weapon. And this damage 3, of course, makes it a better choice versus Death Guard, but I'll come back to that with the damage output. The Forgefiend Jaws, the melee weapon that you could replace with ectoplasma cannon, is a strength user, so basically 7, AP -2, and damage 2 weapon for these 5 attacks. If we look at the Maulerfiend, this is equipped with Magma Cutter and Maulerfiend Fist. So the Magma Cutter is basically an Assault 2. It's like a multi-melta, but only like 6-inch range. And it has strength 8, AP -4, and the damage is D6 +2. So very potent, but only 6-inch range. So your opponent could be charging you and from a bit further outside the shooting, and you can't overwatch with it, but you could shoot it if you come very close or in point blank range. The Maulerfiend Fist is a very strong weapon, strength ×2, so basically 14, AP -3, and then the damage D3 +3. So this is really a very strong weapon combined with a 6 attacks for everything heavy in the game. If the Maulerfiend can come close and it's not degraded to, let's say, hitting on weapon skill 4+, 5+, etc., it can do some really nasty damage, especially to vehicles and high wound models that don't have invul saves. Then it will be a lot of damage output from the Maulerfiend. The Magma Cutter could be replaced with lasher tendrils. This is let's say a not so strong melee weapon. The strength is still 7, AP -2, damage 1, and you can make 6 additional attacks with this weapon. So basically 6 attacks with the fists and 6 attacks with the lasher tendrils. Looking at some of the keywords, they don't have the Arcana Astartes. They are vehicle, demon, and demon engines. They are part of the Great Cult, but they don't have, as I said, Arcana Astartes. They will benefit from the 5+ demonic invul save. They both regenerate 1 lost wound at the start of their own command phase. They explode on a 6 and give D3 mortal wounds. And the Mauler additionally ignores any modifiers to the charge roll, so it's a bit more reliable to charge if something has a -2 to the charge roll. So as we can see, basically here, the Forgefiend is a shooting-oriented demon engine, the Maulerfiend the melee, oriented Daemon Engine, and let's look at now the weapons and damage output and compare them. So looking at the Forgefiend, we have, let's say, the choice is basically the autocannon and the ectoplasma cannons. So here we can see the blue is the damage output of the heavy Hades autocannon and the ectoplasma cannon, and this is not point corrected. The autocannon is more expensive, so you are getting a bit less per point here, but not corrected. We can see the blue line, the damage output across the variety of targets I'm typically simulating. Here is the general Yanis 31 targets, and here we can see versus death card units. We can see for normal units the heavy autocannon is doing more damage than the ectoplasma cannon, but versus death card being a damage 2 weapon, it's not better than the ectoplasma cannon, which is a damage 3 becoming a damage 2 weapon versus death card. So the autocannon has the range advantage. It's a bit more expensive. The damage 2 is not good versus death card. The ectoplasma having lower strength 7 instead of 8 suffers a bit versus toughness 8 vehicles. Here we see, for example, with the Lehman Ross or something like that. And the blast is not taken into account. The blast could be able to bring it a bit higher here against if there is a big unit it's shooting at. The Maulerfiend weapons we have here, the blue line is the magma cutters, the orange is the Maulerfiend fists, and the lasher tendrils is the gray. So we can see the fist is really strong in melee. You can see the damage output not point corrected. The 6 attacks with a D3+3 weapon can do really nasty damage against heavy targets like a predator or something like that. Just cutting a predator tank or an impulsor or something like that. Yeah, cutting it down in one attack phase. The magma cutters can also do some good damage, but as I said, only very short range. And the lasher tendrils are not so strong versus vehicles, but for horde type infantry enemies, they are quite similar to the, yeah, you don't get the benefits of the D3+3 of the Maulerfiend fists, of course. So looking at all the numbers and all the possible configurations, the Forgefiend, we can have 2 autocannons and the jaws. This is the baseline for 160 points. The autocannon and the ectoplasma, 2 autocannons and ectoplasma cannons. This is the most expensive option for 175 points, or 3 ectoplasma cannons for 155 points. And here we can see the damage output at long range, short range, in melee, and then in the point blank. And this is average over the general Yanis 31 targets, and this is point corrected to 100 points. So we can see the most damage output for the general Yanis 31 targets average is the 2 autocannons and the ectoplasma for 175 points. That gives you 3 wounds on average per 100 points. In melee, it's not so strong without the jaws, but its main job is to add some shooting here. In point blank, it can shoot the autocannons, but not the ectoplasma. So if we take the 3 ectoplasmas, we get not so as good as the autocannon and ectoplasma per point versus the general Yanis 31 targets. This is better than death card, as I'll show you, but then we cannot shoot it in point blank. The baseline, let's say the 2 autocannons and the jaws, gives you a little bit more in melee, but you sacrifice a bit of the shooting. And I guess the Forgefiend, you would probably want to have more shooting, and the melee shouldn't come into melee combat, keeping it in your back lines. Looking at the Maulerfiend, we have the 2 options: fist and the magma cutter, and fist and the lasher tendrils. We can see immediately the melee damage output is really strong per 100 points. So 6-5, it's close to death card units damage output per 100 points, like Death Shroud and something like that. So very strong in melee against especially the heavy multi-wound targets. The magma cutters do nice damage, but it's only 6-inch range, so it could be a bit difficult to get that used. So it's good in melee regardless. I think if you want to go full melee, maybe it's better to go with the lashers. Will add you a little bit more to take out some pesky one wound infantry that tries to maybe lock down, target your Maulerfiend. So the configuration is not so important in this one. I think it will be doing very nice melee damage. I would probably run it Maulerfiend with the fist and the lashers. And just to show you the Forgefiend configurations here, this is the best shooting is the yellow line, the 2 autocannons and the Ectoplasma cannon, and we have the 3 Ectoplasma cannons is the dark blue. So they are quite on par, but the yellow is a little bit better. But as we can see with the death card, then the 3 Ectoplasma cannons become better overall. But then you are losing the point blank shooting due to the blast rule. Moving on from the damage output to the durability, this is the baseline durability of the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend. Not point corrected, this is basically how many shots will it take from different weapons to take a Forgefiend / Maulerfiend out, having toughness 7, 12 wounds, 5+ demonic inval save, and that's basically it. And we can see light fire, they can take quite a lot of shots from infantry type weapons, let's say, but from the heavy weapons they are, for example, with 8 Cognis lascannon shots or 7 entropy cannon shots is one of the best anti-vehicle weapons. You will be taking out a Forgefiend or a Maulerfiend on average. Here we're comparing the durability to some of the Death Guard vehicles. The Plaguebear Scroller, one of the most durable vehicles in the game, toughness 8, 12 wounds with a disgusting resilience. This gives it a bit much better, let's say, not point corrected the durability. It can absorb many more shots than the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend, but it's quite similar. The Forgefiend, the Maulerfiend durability is quite similar to the Mephitic Blightholder, or let's say one of the lighter Daemon Engines in the Death Card Codex. Here we also see the Defiler, quite similar to the Defiler, because that doesn't have the disgusting resilience. It has a bit more wounds, the Defiler, the Death Card Defiler, so to say. So if we go to the Thousand Sons Defiler, yeah, I'll have to check the numbers, but it's quite similar, let's say, to some of the lighter Mythic Daemon Engines of the Death Card Codex, but not a Plaguebear Scroller type of durability here. So comparing everything, summarizing, comparing everything for the heavy support and basically dreadnoughts for the Thousand Sons and Death Guard, point corrected here. We have here the Forgefiend in the various configuration, the Maulerfiend. Here we have the Plaguebear Scrollers, the Defiler in a more melee-oriented configuration with the Scourge and the Reaper Autocannon. Here we have the Shooty Contemptor with the Twin Volkites, the Hellbrute. I'll also do the numbers for the Thousand Sons Contemptors and Hellbrutes coming up in the next videos. And here Mephitic Blightholder as a, let's say, fast attack medium heavy, let's say, vehicle. But we can see here in the baseline damage output, the Forgefiend with 2 autocannons and Ectoplasma is on par with the Plaguebear Scroller, let's say. The Contemptor is with the Twin Volkites, has the highest damage output still, and of course, being a core, you can buff the shooting much higher, so you would be getting, let's say, 9.5, 10 wounds on average. So this is still, let's say, the best, the highest damage output shooting damage that you can have as a death card. For Thousand Sons, it will be quite similar, I guess, that you can give it some AP, etc. And then we can see on the Maulerfiend is very strong for the melee damage here. It's much better than anything in the death card arsenal. So this Maulerfiend as a heavy melee specialist, it's quite strong. And here we can see the durability per point, the best durability per point being the Plaguebear Scrollers of the Death Guard. But then we have the Maulerfiend being a bit cheaper, has a better durability per point than the Forgefiend, which is a bit more expensive, but they have the same, let's say, baseline durability. They will have a bit regeneration from their ability, but they are quite similar, let's say, to a Defiler or a Mephitic Blightholder for the points. So looking at some selected buffs and combos for the Forgefiend / Maulerfiend, they are non-core, they are vehicles, they don't have the Arcana Astartes to be able to gain a lot of benefits from some abilities. They pretty much will operate by themselves. There are still ways to buff them. There are 2 stratagems, the Ensorcelled Infusion For 1 command point in your shooting phase, you can improve the AP of weapons if they are within 6 inches of a Psyker unit. There is a lot of Psyker units in the Thousand Sons, so the Forgefiend could benefit for a bit more AP, but the Ectoplasma cannons, they already have AP -3. The autocannon has AP -2. It could help, but not, for example, versus targets with invul save, so quite limited, I think, the benefit for the Forgefiend. For as a defensive stratagem, the biomechanical mutation for 1 command point for a vehicle. You can use it in any phase when your Forgefiend / Maulerfiend would be taking mortal wounds. You can get a 5+ ignore, let's say, mortal wounds protection. Could be interesting if you're facing another Thousand Sons, maybe, and your Maulerfiend is being spammed by mortal wounds. The psychic powers can also be used to enhance the effects from the Forgefiend and Maulerfiend. The Presage gives it +1 to hit, so this is quite strong for both a Forgefiend and a Maulerfiend. The Weaver of Fates can give it a 4+ invul instead of the 5+ invul, increasing the durability. Glamour of Ginge, -1 to be hit, of course, increases the durability quite considerably for any unit. Swell by the Warp Blessing could be interesting, as it gives +2 strength and +1 attack for the Maulerfiend. The Maulerfiend has very high strength with the fist, so probably the strength will not benefit it. Getting 1 more attack could make take down a more consistently a very heavy tank. Could be something to consider. So reaching to the summary and final thoughts, the Forgefiend can add some shooting capabilities to the Thousand Sons, let's say some heavy shootings. The 2 autocannons and Ectoplasma for 175 point is probably the best configuration for shooting. But in the Thousand Sons there is a lot of good shooting anyway. And as we saw from the table, it's not like we are beating the Volkite Contemptors, but yeah, it's adding a bit shooting here. The Maulerfiend could be an interesting melee option and very high damage output potential with the fist and the lasher tendrils, or even if you take the Magma Cutter for 140, 150 points, you can really do some heavy melee damage versus heavy targets. The downside, let's say, is it's not so easy to deliver the Maulerfiend fast up the field. There is a lot of shenanigans in the Thousand Sun Codex. You could use Temporal Surge to move twice. You can use a crystal to teleport. You can use the Sorcerer's Facade to move something, but those are not applicable for the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend. They are not infantry, etc. So we cannot use these abilities to, let's say, teleport them where we want them on the table, like we can do with Terminators and even monsters for some of these abilities. So they probably have to walk up. The Maulerfiend has a 10-inch move, so it could get some places, but it could also, if it degrades, then it will be moving slower. So a Maulerfiend could be an interesting idea to have a distraction, try to get it fast up the field, engage something, absorb some fire from something else, and then could be an interesting choice here. The Forgefiend being more of a backfield shooter, but there, as I said, the Contemptor can do better shooting. So basically, yeah, if you like the models, of course you will have a heavy shooter on the back. And as we saw, to take them out, some heavy weaponry is needed, and they can absorb some fire, but they are not as good, let's say, as something like, say, Plague Scroller, which is at the top tier of durability in the game. So this concludes the video. What do you think about the Forgefiend and the Maulerfiend? What have you been using? And let me know your comments below. If you want to find more Thousand Sons videos, please look at the description. I have a list of all the Thousand Sons videos. I tried also to make a playlist with all the Thousand Sons. If you need to watch more Death Guard videos, of course, go to find the Death Guard reviews of the units. And if you like this video, please press like, subscribe to my channel where I will bring you more Warhammer videos. And if you want to support my efforts and appreciate all the effort that this is taking to make this type of analysis and trying to bring you the data in a nice way, please please visit my Patreon page and become a patron, and I would really appreciate your support there. And yeah, a big thanks to all my patrons. And with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.